5 supplements you should avoid if you have hair loss. Hair supplements, there is big money to be made in that industry. There are a ton of different hair supplements on the market, lozenges, gummies, drinks, and I've reviewed a lot of these hair supplements over the years on my channel, and I've noticed a trend that a lot of hair supplements contain ingredients in them which really give me pause due to their potential for serious adverse effects on one's health. Number 1 is iron, and I know what you're thinking, wait, I thought iron was like super important for hair growth. You're right. If you aren't aware, the cells that grow your hair, they are some of the most rapidly dividing cells in the body, and they rely on iron to divide. Iron is also super important for controlling the expression of genes that are necessary for hair biology. Many patients who come to the dermatologist with a complaint of hair loss are actually found to be iron deficient, and checking iron is part of evaluating hair loss. Iron deficiency is actually the most common nutrient deficiency worldwide, and there are a lot of reasons to have iron deficiency. So at this point, you're probably going, so what? Like, why not take iron if you are having problems with your hair? Multiple things can be true at the same time. Yes, it's true iron is super important for hair growth. Yes, it's true that many people who have hair loss have iron deficiency. And yes, it's true that iron deficiency is the most common nutrient deficiency worldwide, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if you have hair loss and hair shedding, you should just go take an iron supplement. If you actually do have iron deficiency, the main thing you need to focus on is why you have iron deficiency in the first place. You should undergo a proper evaluation. There are situations where your body needs a lot more iron, for example, pregnancy, delivery, and breastfeeding. In addition to hair loss, other signs of iron deficiency include being very fatigued, having extreme paleness, spoon nails, painful swollen tongue, angular cheilitis. As a side note, I have a whole video on skin signs of iron deficiency, so check that out. So yes, we do check for iron deficiency in people who have hair loss, but that being said, you shouldn't just go take iron because you see a supplement for hair and you think that's going to be the solution. There's no evidence that taking iron in the absence of iron deficiency is going to help your hair. And in fact, there are serious harms that come with taking iron when it is not necessary. If you've ever taken an iron supplement, up front, you know it can come with some side effects, namely constipation and bloating. But taking iron in the absence of iron deficiency can be really harmful to your health. It can result in something called iron overload. Basically, the iron accumulates in your body and causes damage to your organs. This can make you feel very fatigued. It can cause joint pain. It can damage your pancreas and cause diabetes. It's called bronze diabetes because it also causes your skin to kind of have this bronzish, grayish appearance due to deposition of iron in the skin. It can lead to enlargement of your liver, your spleen. It can impact your sex hormones and cause low libido. Because hair supplements are supplements and not medications, they're not required to warn you about these potential issues that can come about from taking excessive amounts of iron. You don't even have to take high doses of iron to get to iron overload. Taking low doses over time in the absence of iron deficiency can set you up for iron overload and toxicity. Now, that being said, if you do have hair loss and you've seen your doctor and you've been found to have iron deficiency, definitely, of course, follow their instructions regarding iron supplementation. They should be monitoring you to monitor for response of the hair or any other symptoms that you are having related to low iron. Number 2 is zinc. Zinc is an essential mineral. It plays a vital role in the function of all different types of enzymes that your body relies on. It's also required for different factors that are necessary to dictate how certain genes are expressed. So all that to say, it ends up being really important, of course, for hair biology, hair growth. Zinc deficiency is not very common. It can be inherited or it can be acquired. And zinc deficiency can result in hair loss. People at risk for zinc deficiency are those with a genetic condition known as acrodermatitis enteropathica, those who have inflammatory bowel disease, if you've had gastric bypass, patients who have liver or kidney disease, pregnant women, alcoholism, and certain medications that can interfere with the absorption of zinc, like valproic acid and certain medications for blood pressure. So I'm not saying zinc deficiency doesn't happen, it's just not common. And outside of these scenarios, and otherwise healthy people, taking zinc for hair, not research backed that it's going to be helpful for your hair. In addition to the possibility of hair loss, some other signs of zinc deficiency include diarrhea, rashes, poor wound healing, and poor immune function. Check out my video as a side note on signs of zinc deficiency. I go over in detail with photos all of these different signs of zinc deficiency. So while zinc deficiency does occur, it's not super common. And in otherwise healthy people with no underlying health problems, to just take zinc for your hair is not evidence-based. There's no research showing that that's going to be helpful for your hair. Zinc supplementation can actually interfere with the absorption of iron. So taking zinc supplements can actually make you iron deficient. And zinc supplements in the absence of confirmed zinc deficiency can also lead to poor immune function. Taking zinc supplements in the absence of zinc deficiency also can lead to vomiting, diarrhea, and pain. Don't just take a zinc supplement because you heard it's good for hair. Make sure that you know exactly why you have issues with your hair. And if you just want healthier hair, taking zinc in the absence of deficiency is not where you need to be focusing your efforts. Number 3 is selenium. I see selenium in a ton of hair supplements. Selenium is an antioxidant. And yes, oxidative stress is a major contributing factor to miniaturization of the hairs in androgenetic alopecia. Oxidative stress is also something associated with premature graying. As a side note, I have a whole video on reversing gray hair, so check that one out if that's something that you are interested in. Generally speaking, selenium deficiency is pretty rare. It can happen in areas of the world where the soil content is low in selenium. Parts of central China, certain parts of North Korea, and Siberia. Patients who have kidney failure and are on dialysis are also an at-risk group, and of course anyone who has any malabsorption. But the average otherwise healthy individual who is shopping the supplement aisle in Target or at their local health food store and is considering buying one of these hair supplements, check the label. If it has selenium in it, why are you taking it? Because taking selenium, you can easily get to toxicity. Not only from supplements, but you can get toxic levels of selenium from food, specifically Brazil nuts. One Brazil nut has like all of your daily requirement for selenium, and eating too many Brazil nuts can actually cause selenium toxicity as well. Like some of these other things that I pointed out here, in the absence of deficiency, there's no evidence that taking selenium is going to be beneficial for one's hair or correct any kind of hair loss issue, improve hair density, nothing of that sort. And taking excessive amounts of selenium, you easily can get to a toxic level. And sadly, one of the outcomes of selenium toxicity is actually hair loss. So taking these supplements that have selenium in them actually could make your hair loss worse. Other signs of selenium toxicity include a blistering skin rash, problems with memory. It can even cause a heart attack, respiratory distress, and frank kidney failure. So don't just take selenium thinking, oh, this is a supplement, it's going to help my hair. It actually could harm your hair as well as the rest of your body. Supplement number 4, vitamin A. Vitamin A is actually a group of compounds that includes retinol, retinal, retinoic acid, provitamin A, and carotenoids. Vitamin A has some pretty characteristic skin findings, which I go over in my video on signs of vitamin A deficiency. But interestingly enough, hair loss is not one of them. On the flip side, high levels of vitamin A have actually been linked to hair loss. A lot of people who take supplements, they may not realize that some of the supplements that they take, there can be overlap. So not only is there vitamin A in one supplement, but they may also be getting it in another supplement. For example, a lot of people take cod liver oil. It actually has very high amounts of vitamin A. So taking that in combination with one of these hair supplements that also might have vitamin A in it, you can actually run into a scenario where it puts you at risk for hair loss as well as other toxic effects. Vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin. So what that means is that when you take it in, anything that your body doesn't use is going to get stored in your fat and your liver. Because of that, you can run into toxicity. In the United States, at least, vitamin A toxicity is a lot more common than vitamin A deficiency. Other signs of vitamin A toxicity include changes in your vision, blurry vision, problems with bright lights, decreased night vision. Vitamin A can interfere with vitamin D. It can have negative consequences for your bone health. It can cause almost like an osteoarthritis. It can cause joint swelling, joint pain. Vitamin A toxicity can easily lead to headaches, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and it's also very dangerous in pregnancy. High amounts of vitamin A in pregnancy can cause pretty serious birth defects. On this channel, I've gone over the side effect profile of isotretinoin. That is a medication that is a form of vitamin A, and the negative side effects of that are the same as what you can get with high doses of vitamin A. The difference is that with isotretinoin, you are being monitored for these side effects. You are being treated with a dose that is appropriate to minimize the risks of any of these side effects, whereas a vitamin A supplement It's not treating anything, like isotretinoin is treating your acne. It's not treating anything. It's not providing you any benefit in the absence of confirmed vitamin A deficiency, but it's putting you at risk for toxicity. No one's monitoring. And as it begins to accumulate in your body, by the time you do develop some of these side effects, it can be at a point where you have gotten to a very high level. With Accutane, we talk about some of the more common side effects being dry skin, chapped lips. That can happen with vitamin A supplements too, and a lot of people don't realize that that's why their skin is dry. That's why they have chapped lips. And they keep buying lip balms, moisturizing. And again, supplementing with vitamin A is not known to improve hair. The opposite. Last but not least is vitamin E. Vitamin E is a class of compounds that includes tocotrienols and tocopherols. Vitamin E is mostly of interest because it's an antioxidant. And again, when it comes to hair, specifically androgenetic alopecia, free radicals can push the hair follicle over the edge in those who are genetically predisposed to miniaturize, basically go from a full coarse terminal hair to a little baby vellus hair, aka a peach fuzz hair. Inflammation in the scalp, free radicals definitely influences that along with hormones. Vitamin E deficiency is very rare. There's not much evidence to support taking vitamin E supplementation for hair, aside from one small study of 21 volunteers who were taking 100 milligrams of a mixed tocotrienol supplement daily, and they actually showed a statistically significant increase in the number of hairs in comparison to placebo. But more research is definitely needed to say for sure to what extent supplementing with vitamin E is going to be helpful for the hair and in what groups, not to mention the risk of toxicity with vitamin E, because like vitamin A, vitamin E is also fat soluble. So anything your body is not using, it's going to get stored. Vitamin E is naturally found in vegetable oils, cereal grains, nuts, seeds. It's pretty easy to get from your diet. Deficiency is very rare. People who are at risk for deficiency are like people, again, with malabsorption, certain underlying medical conditions like cystic fibrosis where they don't absorb fat-soluble vitamins properly, people who've had gastric bypass surgery, but the average otherwise healthy person out there is not walking around vitamin E deficient. But supplementing with vitamin E in the absence of a deficiency, in the absence of a true confirmed need for vitamin E supplementation, it can lead you down a dangerous path because vitamin E supplementation can interfere with your body's ability to form blood clots. It can cause excessive bleeding, hemorrhage. If you happen to get a cut or a scrape, you may bleed more, or God forbid you need a surgery, you're taking a vitamin E supplement, make sure you tell the surgeon, but in the emergent situation, or if you forget, what can end up happening is that you can have excessive bleeding during surgery. Vitamin E impacts blood clotting because it inhibits the activity of enzymes needed for blood clotting. While vitamin E is an antioxidant, taking high levels of it actually can impair immune function, make you more likely to get sick. High amounts of vitamin E also will mess up thyroid hormone production and can make you at risk for low thyroid, which in and of itself is a risk factor for hair loss. Speaking of which, high amounts of vitamin E supplementation have actually been shown to be associated with hair loss. So as it stands now, there's insufficient evidence to show that taking vitamin E supplementation is going to help with the hair. Everything that we have really suggests that it can be harmful to otherwise healthy people who don't have issues absorbing it. And if anything, it can put you at risk for hair loss, probably due to the effects that it has on thyroid hormone production. All right, guys, so those are 5 supplements to avoid in the absence of confirmed deficiency. If you are someone dealing with hair loss, you're standing in the hair loss supplement aisle and you're wondering like, should I be taking these things? Are they going to help my hair? Be aware they do have risks and they're supplements, so they're not required to disclose those risks to you. And also always make sure you tell your treating healthcare provider about any supplements you are taking because they can interfere with certain medications. They can have adverse effects, put you at risk for things like bleeding, as I mentioned. Unless you have an underlying health problem that limits your ability to absorb these, the best way to get them is from your diet, from foods. Make sure you're eating a balanced diet. You should be able to get all of these nutrients that we discussed in this video. Of these that we talked about, iron deficiency is the most common. There are a lot of reasons for iron deficiency. You want to make sure you know why you have iron deficiency, and so that should be worked up before you just assume you have it and go randomly taking iron supplements. It can actually cause quite a bit of harm, as can all of these supplements. They do have the risk for harm, but they're supplements, so they're not required to tell you that. Another really common ingredient found in most hair supplements is going to be biotin. And I have a recent video all about why biotin is not where it's at when it comes to the hair supplements. So I'm gonna put that video on the end slate. You need to watch that next before you contemplate buying another hair, skin, and nail supplement. Make sure you watch that video. A lot will be revealed to you about the potential adverse effects of biotin supplements. Anyways, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.